Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, and welcome, everyone. As you know, our tradition of this meeting is to start with kind of what happened in 2019 and what is the board set for their agenda in 2020. So let's get started and go over 2019. So the goals that were set by the board back in December of 18 for 2019 included everything from let's get a new boardwalk built, let's fix Ready Ride, let's redevelop downtown Hokomus, let's build a new farmer's market, and let's fix all our roads. So they set a very ambitious plan for 2019. So as you see, the first goal was to do the road funding, something that was probably needed to be done for a long time in the township. And on August 6th, the voters approved the bond by 60%. You can hopefully see the difference here. Towner Road, what Towner Road looked like and what Towner Road looks like now. And of course, we have a number of roads that look like the former Towner Road. So, and then number two was the farmer's market. We broke ground and we ran into a lot of problems with the farmer's market. We ran into soil problems and drain problems and property acquisition problems, but hopefully you've driven by there in the last 48 hours. We've actually got the project started now. We're on site and we are still hoping for the opening of the farmer's market around the June. And it's going to be a great addition to the community. And the goal number three was redevelopment of downtown Okemos with a village project, and we really appreciate the help of the DDA from these two ladies here, Sue and Renee, who've been very, very helpful in working through that for us. The DEQ, Eagle now started some work at downtown Okemos. We're told that the other buildings will start coming down in the spring, and we're still very hopeful and very excited for this project. Up in Hazlet, we did a market study. We now have a proposal in front of us, the first proposal in a very long time for the village of Hazlet, and it's for a 55 and older residential housing complex. It's gone through the Planning Commission. It's recommended approval to the board. And the board's going to be taking that up next week, so we'll see how that goes. There's been some mixed reaction to that. Goal number four, the Transportation Commission, working with Ready Ride. And again, more success for this board, more success for this community. I've never seen a group of people accomplish more in 3 years than what this group is, what we've accomplished. Ready Ride, without any additional cost, we now have additional bus service Monday through Friday from 1:45 to 5, and an additional bus on Saturday. Actually took the time to ride Ready Ride this year. It's very interesting. I would suggest that everyone take the time to do that. You learn a lot and what people rely on in this community. Pathway system, you know, the roads, Ready Ride, let's fix our village, you know, all these systemic problems that we've had for the last 10 or 20 years in this community, this group's wanted to fix in 1 year. And so if you look away at the pathway system and the boardwalk, that has been a great addition to the community, and we appreciate the voters in the county working with us on the park millage to bring that to fruition. It's about a $900,000 project, and that was totally funded by what you pay as a park tax. The county returned to us and paid 100% the cost of that. Working with the Meridian Mall, we've had some good things happen at the mall with and our economic development director, Chris Buck, who's right behind me, working with mall officials, and of course we've seen some good things happen there. It's a constant challenge. Supervisor Stika spoke at the 50th anniversary of the mall here just recently. The launch trampoline and then we got contracts with all of our bargaining units, and we've settled 4 of those. And accreditation, news will be coming out next week. We've worked on this all year. Chief Plog and his team. Tonight we have Assistant Chief Brad Bach that's with us. Brad's been with the department for I think 24 years, and we're proud of that. We've been working on accreditation, and the announcement's coming out in the next couple weeks, and lots of communities go for this. I think the announcement's going to say that only 5 communities in Michigan reached accreditation in their police department, and we'll hear about that in the next couple weeks. Number 9, about our diversity, and we continue to work on our diversity in our workforce to try to get it to mirror our community, and that is also another constant challenge for us. We continue to work on it. Housing options to become more diverse. This board approved a affordable housing development over by Whole Foods, and that project had some tax credits through the state. The state only selects so many of the state, and we were like Traverse City and got our projects did not get approved by the state. I think 3 of them went to Grand Rapids, but again, we continue to work on it, called the Woder Cooper development. So those were the 2019 accomplishments. It was really a banner year for the township and all the things that we're able to accomplish, but we're not resting on those laurels. We set a really, what I think is ambitious plan for 2020. We also got involved in a couple of developments, Copper Creek up in Hazlet, the Bennett Road. If you're on the Planning Commission, these look shockingly familiar to you, probably too familiar for you. You probably want to leave the room because this is what the room looked like a lot when we were having those meetings. But anyway, both of those were mediated by the township, reached resolve on both of them, and we await to both of those developments. Copper Creek's off Hazlet Road. Bennett Road is behind Champion Woods on Bennett Road next to the veterinarian office across from the golf course. These are some of the other things we did in 2019. We started a police senior watch program. I would encourage you, if you do not know about that, to take the time to talk to Assistant Chief Bach about that. The Garden Club. You know, we really are very thankful to the Garden Club and what they do in this township and the beautification that they do. And this year they had a project with the local school districts. I know Chief Plaga, Assistant Chief Block, and others got involved in that, but I know Georgia Steik is here this evening, and she's president of the Garden Club, and we're very thankful for what they do behind the scenes. They don't get a lot of credit, but you know, I think they're rated best in the state and maybe even best in the nation recently. Yeah. So
world.
Yeah. You're always putting out facts, Mr. Secretary. Yeah. Medical marijuana, that was quite a process. And again, if you're on the Planning Commission, you're all too familiar with that. And you're starting to see those SUPs come to you now. And this is Peter Menser, our principal planner, who held the lottery in September. I think it was the 23rd, where 6 dispensaries were selected out of 20 that applied. Our fire department, through the leadership of Chief Hamill, installed 1,250 carbon monoxide smoke detectors in homes at no cost to our residents. We have a plan that we need 15 outdoor sirens throughout the entire township. Just 5 or 6 years ago, we only had 4. And we've been really working on that to get them. We have a schematic through the entire township needing 15. We put our 8th in at Dobie and Kinawa. The 9th will go in 2020. So we're getting there. New laptops for the ambulances. Senior center. You haven't been to the senior center lately? A little outdoor facade and outdoor improvement, little site to come and rest. It's really a nice addition to the senior center if you haven't been there. How many have seen that? Anyone? Couple? 3, 4? Right. Here's a big project for the township. Again, taking care of a lot of issues that we have that have been around a long time. And one of them is fixing our HVAC system in this building. Deborah Guthrie, who's in the front row, who just left our communications department after 20-some years, she will tell you some days it was t-shirt, some days it was 3 sweaters. You just never know. She always wanted us to call ahead and tell her, but we have really serious temperature issues in the building. So anyway, it could be up to a $2 million fix. The board realized that, this group here, 3 years ago, and began setting aside funds for it. And we now have about $2 million set aside. We're going to pay for this huge improvement to our building with cash in 2020. We're preparing for the census. It's a big deal. You know, one person, I think the number is $13,000 to $15,000 for the community, just one person over the 10 years. The reimbursement you get from the federal government based on your census, so it's a big deal that everyone gets counted. The solar landscaping project in front of the building was landscaped this year. Our deputy manager, Mr. Perry, oversaw that project. We cut the ribbon on our small dog park. We welcomed Wayfair. Big deal for the township. You know, Wayfair is big, first Midwest location. And we were down to the city of Lansing, the city of Grand Rapids, and Meridian Township. And we be honest with you, we really didn't spend any time at all on this project. I'd like to tell you, stand up here and we did a great thing. We did nothing, except I will tell you that over the last few years, I think we've created the community that they found welcoming. So while we didn't do much at all to lure Wayfair here, we found out at the very end, because that's how these 500 jobs, Fortune 500 company things go. But if it had not been for the work of a lot of people in this room, we wouldn't have had the type of community that Wayfair would have wanted to come to. I won't tell you that I had to ask what Wayfair was, but hey, that's, yeah. Panera, a relocation project that occurred in 2019, Solden's relocation, our Celebrate Meridian event, which has become a real popular event. I credit a number of people for bringing that together, but Deborah Guthrie is the one who brought us the food truck rally and really got this project kicked off a couple years ago. Our Celebrate Meridian went from about a 2 to about a 9 overnight. And well, Renee, you remember when it was down to, yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
I'm not sure too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay, 1.5. It was a 1.5. Yeah, trying to be positive, but it's really turned into a big event for the community. 2020, that's what we accomplished in 2019 as a team. What are we going to try to do in 2020? The number one thing is that we fully commit and deliver on our promise on the road millage. There's what we said is every dollar is going into the roads, and I could guarantee that every penny is going into the roads. There's not going to be a shell game with any of this. And our goal is to bring our PASER rating up over a 5. And we're actually going to accomplish. We're going to do what 26 or 27 miles of roads in the first year. You can see 10 of that will be rehabilitation on the poor roads. The roads that are ranked down in the 1, 2s, and 3s there's going to be 10 miles of those corrected. And something we haven't done in a very long time here, and that's take care of the roads that are in decent shape so they don't fall apart in 3 or 4 years. We've not been able to do that. And so we're taking 17 miles of roads are rated from 1 to 10. We're going to put 17 miles of 7s and 8s and try to keep them at 7s and 8s. What we're really going to try to do is fix the 1 to 5s with the bond money for the rehabilitation. Our goal, our PASER rating right now, is a rating of all your roads in the township is a 4.5. At the end of this project, we want to be at 8. So we know how we have to grow. In the first year, we've done the analysis and we're surpassing where we need to get in the first year to get to an 8 after the 10th year. This shows you that we're going up over a 5 just in the first year. The Village of Okemos at downtown Hazlet, we have to continue the process of being a very active partner in the redevelopment of downtown Okemos and in Hazlet. 2 key areas. You know, if you look a few years ago, we had pension issues, we had road issues, and we have redevelopment issues. And take a look at all the issues that we had just 3 or 4 years ago, and take a look at where we are now as a community. And this is a rendering of what this 55 and older complex in Hazlet is proposed to look like. It's on the far western border of that 28 acre site. Thank you. And then also a financial model that allows us not to seek a tax increase. That's something we've talked about, we're working on. Pension payments. Not only are we putting in the pension payments that were approved in 2017, we're talking about enhancing those. And as you can see, our goal is to be 100% funded by 2027, and we're making inroads to that. Our pension fund has never been funded as high as it is right now. This is something that if you're a community and you don't address this, and Joyce Vancouvering, who worked at the state, knows this, there are a lot of communities who are on the brink. You know, the state of Illinois is on the brink. If communities don't address this, there's some communities that aren't too far from here that you're talking over $100 million of debt that communities have. Our pension fund has been in the 40s and 50s as far as funded, 40 to 50%. We're now at 63. and that doesn't account for last year's performance. So we could see a pension fund that has been in the 40 or 50s, and while most communities turn a blind eye to this, we've taken it on, and we expect to be close to 70%. We're better than we've ever been, and we're going to be much higher than that when our actuarial comes out in the summer. Goal number 5 is taking a look at our signage. You know, if you take a look at the signage that we have, the blue sign on the right, you would never know that this is the complex because you can't, it's really small, you can't read it. They haven't been updated in a long time. And we're taking a look at doing some entry signs as a part of the township, and that's a project that we hope to be able to do this summer. And this is just what the signage would look like. And 4 gateway signs into the township at all of our borders. And then the marketplace on the green. The roof is not going to be this rusty red color. It's actually going to be a more of a, I would say, call it a sky blue. But as you drive by there in the next few days, you'll notice the work going on. Again, opening in June. Being optimistic. Solar, sustainability, being environmentally conscious is really important to this board. Supervisor Steik is the one who brought up the plan to do our first solar project 2 years ago. And I know the treasurer suggested more money be put in to work with the Environmental Commission, Mr. McConnell's group. Well, maybe still, I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, there's money that this board has set aside for continuing our solar beyond what we're doing right now. And Michigan State has talked about a large solar project, which I believe is going to be on their board's agenda the next couple weeks. Recycling center is another goal of the board in 2020. If you go up to our recycling center in Hazlet, it's better than what it has been, but it's still a little dicey at times depending upon the weather. I know that the work we got a lot of complaints about it in 13, 14, and 15, and 16. And Mr. Perry came up with a plan to improve the driveway in there. We haven't had as many complaints, but we still get them. So the question is there a better site for our recycling center? And we're going to take a look at that in 20. And I don't know that there is, but it's something we're going to look at. And here's the current one. And some potential sites that we'll be looking at. Goal number 9 is the census count. It's really important, and I think we've covered why, but every vote counts, every person counts. And then 10 would be to continue our pathway system and make that connection from Lake Lansing to Michigan State. And again, these are dollars that were approved with the county millage for parks that get reimbursed to the communities. So we use the first part of the money to pay for the Okemos Road Boardwalk, and now the next phase will be getting some more of those funds to make this connection from MSU to Lake Lansing. In addition to those goals, what are some other things in 2020 that you could expect to happen? Is some new facilities at the Harris Nature Center. And again, these are all paid out of the Parks millage that was approved in 2014. Updating our emergency operations plan seems kind of boring, mundane. It's really important because, we had the big storm in 2013, December, where some people were out of power for, I think former Supervisor LeGoff was out for 11 days living in Wardcliff. And we just had that potential ice storm just 2 weeks ago. So both chiefs are working on updating that. A promise that was made in the 2017 fire and police millage, there were a number of promises that have been made, and we're keeping all of those. And one of those was to purchase and replace our 22-year-old ladder truck next year. Remember, we said we'd set $250 aside each year. Well, we've done that. We have $750 now. And so we'll be ordering this truck, and that'll cost somewhere in the range of $800,000 to $900,000. But again, keeping the commitments that were made. The 9th of, this is what the diagram looks like in the township. You can kind of see where you live and where the emergency sirens are located. But again, we'll have number 9 out of the need of 15. We'll be getting a new canine unit for our police department. We don't have a name yet, do we? Okay. See him if you have suggestions. We could have a contest tonight. Filling our vacant commercial space, always a challenge. I think there could be an announcement coming in the next 2 to 3 weeks on the Toys R Us building. I know Mr. Buck has been working on that. Celebrate Meridian event, we're going to keep right on going with that big event, June 27th. Improvements to Central Park, a new trail connector, bridge, and restroom. The large dog park will be opening in 2020. We'll be improving this. May not sound that exciting, but if you work here, getting new workstations, it's important. Mr. Gibas and our IT department will make sure that happens. Again, the replacement of the HVAC building, and that's kind of a look at 2019. That's 2 years of work and 2 years of plans in maybe 20 minutes. So that's kind of what we're up to and what we've accomplished as a team, and I turn it back over to you, Mr. Supervisor.
Okay. Does anybody on the board first have any questions for the manager on this? Okay. How about out there? Anybody want to question the manager on any of these things that happened in 19 or are going to happen in 20? Everybody satisfied with your wonderful presentation? All right.
Thank you. Thank you.